Do any of you follow directions or you just kind of do what you want to do? I do that to a certain degree, but in my last video, I talked about my concealed carry class, and I wanted to elaborate a little further on that about, kind of following the rules and kind of just like respect and common decency. When we got there, to start, the coach told us to park on the right-hand side parking lot because we were going to a range where it was a public range and people come, to shoot there. So we're going to be there all day. So our car is going to be parked all day. So sure enough, I get in there and I park to the right, like you said, because I just read the directions, and everybody else parks out in the front, takes up all the parking places of the patrons. It's like in sales. I used to do the same thing. I would never take up the parking space of the patrons because I'm a salesman. I'm going to park way out so I don't mess up their business, because they got a business to run. And so, those kind of things are important. Obviously he didn't say anything because he didn't want to get anybody pissed off at him or anything in class. And then we go get in line to sign in. So, you go sign your name and time you got there, and then you just wait in line, and people just crowding in front of you. It's like oblivious. I said, look at it, hey, whatever. And then sitting there at lunch, we're having lunch, and guy's sitting there just a few feet away from me. He's eating his yogurt, and he breaks wind, man, just blows. And I'm thinking, dude, he's like right here. It's like you think he could step out or something, like common decency. It's like, and I don't get mad. I just laugh. It's just ridiculous. And people could just be so disrespectful. It's like, and I used to get, it's like I used to get mad at stuff like that. But I look now, it's just, I think people are just oblivious. Just oblivious to their surroundings. And like I said, they're crowding in front of you in line. I don't think they do it maliciously. I think because they're so brain dead, it's like they're just walking around like zombies. That's why I'm concerned, driving on the highway. You're always watching for everybody pulling out in front of you. And that's why it's so dangerous on a motorcycle now, because people they just don't pay attention. And it's not that they're doing it maliciously. It's what I've come to the conclusion. It's just that, man, it's just people are so brain dead. And any opinion you give to somebody, and people just come lashing out. It's like the other day, I think I covered this, but I have to go back to it. A guy is riding his motorcycle with his wife with no gear, just no protection. I mean, you go down, if you fall down on the ground, you're going to get hurt. But, when you're in motion, it's just like, I don't think he does it maliciously. I think they're just brain dead. So, I guess my question to you is that, are you really cognizant of your surroundings and watching what's going on? What they call like situational awareness. You see a guy behind you or something, you don't just, break wind. You kind of maybe walk down somewhere and kind of do your business and come back. Or if you're waiting in line at a gas station or whatever, you got a guy that's waiting too. You just kind of, hey, come on in, let him in, Same thing too when we were at the range, we only had 5 lanes to shoot, and there was like 8 guys. And a couple paired up, so 2 people had to wait out. And I just said, I'll wait out. It's no big deal. We're going to get through this. So, but, I had to, go through and watch everybody. It was cool because I watched how people were shooting, and, I could learn something from it. But, everybody's just crowded up, and nobody's volunteering to step out. I don't care. I mean, it's like, whatever. You want to get in line in front of it? Go ahead. You're in a big hurry. Go ahead. So, but I said, you should go into where we went awry with all this. People just, like common decency just seems to not exist. Maybe because I'm California, I don't know. Talked to some good friends this weekend that are moving to Tennessee, and they said when they got over, they felt like they were at home. Just felt so comfortable. And it's like, do I feel like I'm at home here? Yeah, I've lived here my whole life, but at the same time, it's like slowly pushing me out. It's like, and I know one time, I worked in sales. I went up to Reno, and I was getting a lot of pushback on my sales calls, and I went to Reno after a couple weeks of getting my butt kicked for a company I just started with. I went up to Reno and I walk in the door and go, hey, how's it going? You know, and they wave at you, come on over. And I said, what are they talking to me? And I look over and yeah, they're talking to me. And they say, hey, what's going on? I haven't seen you guys in a long time. You know, and they sit there talking to me and they buy something from me. It's like, wow, this is so nice. I guess, you know, you get numb to all that. You get, you know, and you get treated nice somewhere and you think, oh, what's the ulterior motive? You know, because, you know, you experience a lot of rudeness. But again, I go back to it. I just can only equate it to the fact that people are just numb. And they're not paying attention. You know, you gotta check yourself, you know, and there's times that I don't pay attention. I do something stupid or something, and it's like, oh man, I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't see you there. You know, legitimate, you know, but we all gotta, I think we all gotta wake up, you know, and just show some more common decency with people, and you know, spread the love, be humble, and be nice to other people. And I mean, you know, what do you think? I think that's the best way to be, is just, you know, being so angry and like always defensive. You know, you ask a question, somebody just lights you up. It's like, wait, just ask a question. I went in to buy a motorcycle one time and we were looking at all the different motorcycles. My wife, she's really short, so we wanted to pick a motorcycle that fit her where she could put her feet down so she'd be confident. She's a very new rider and she wanted to be on her tiptoes. And look, you know, we were there for a while and the salesman said, because you know what, I've showed you 5 motorcycles, you know, and he started, I said, whoa, wait a second. I said, I don't know if you realize, but you're being rude. I said, you know, we're the customer, and you know, we discussed that I want to find the perfect motorcycle for my wife. I'm just going to randomly buy something that she can't ride or she's not comfortable. I want her to feel comfortable. And I called him out and he kept pushing back on me. I said, no, you're being rude. And I had to call him out because it was just like, it was ridiculous. You know, and I asked myself the question, I said, did he do that on purpose? I don't think he did. He was a nice guy. He's just like kind of detached, I guess. So what's causing all this detachment from just common decency? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So if you guys have any comments to share, I'd really like to hear them, because not to say I'm struggling, but it kind of wears you down and makes you not want to go out. You know, it's like, yeah, just stay home. I don't want to listen to that stuff, you know. But all in all, you know, there's a lot of good people out there, but at the same time, there's others that are just like, wait a minute, man. So where are you coming from? So, yeah, that was what I wanted to share, and hope you guys have a great rest of the day. If you have any comments to add about discussion, I'd love to hear them. So have a great rest of the day.